you think you got a beat on this guy, he knows you're following him. He knows what you're driving. That's a cop right there. So he's going to take you off on a little trip, you know what I mean? Stop here, stop there, contact this dude. You never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? He might take you down an alley, and when you drive through the alley, there's dudes standing right there with semi-automatic rifles and just blast you. And he just keeps driving. You're going to hit a garage, you're dead. You know what I mean?
The organization's taking a different approach, and we're not allowing members now to get any tattoos, you know, especially where they're visible. You know, don't dress up all bagged up. You know, if you have to wear some tight jeans, wear some tight jeans. Look like your average Joe out there. Get yourself a job, go to school. You know, if you're working during the day, then you're committing crime at night. You know, if you're working at night, then you're going to be committing crimes in the day. But basically what we try to do now is have them change their appearance, you know, have them change the way they talk, you know, because if you notice, there's a difference. If you get a gang member from the streets and you get someone off the shoe, you're going to see their vocabulary is a lot different. One's going to sound more educated than the other. Now, if you can go out there with his appearance altered, looking different, blending in with people, but as well as his dialogue, his conversation, well, then more than likely people ain't going to really focus on him because he's blended in with society.
If he walks up to me and he has an air of confidence, I don't care how he looks, I'm going to deal with him accordingly. I'm going to know that this dude, maybe he's not in the greatest shape, but he's got that air of confidence about him. You know, he's looking at me in my eyes when he's talking to me. He's not, you know, trying to be overly friendly, so I'm going to deal with it. Number two, I'm going to look at his physical shape, the shape he's in physically. You know, is he dumpy? Does he look soft? Does he look like he stays in shape? Because if he takes care of his body, chances are he takes care of his mind as well. You know, they go hand in hand. And if he's taking care of those things, he's going to be difficult for me to deal with. And then beyond that, I'm just going to have to pick and choose, you know. I'm going to look at possibly the fact of, you know, how old does he look? Does he look like he's been on the force for a long time? And also the factor of being male or female is going to come into play too.
How so?
Because this sounds really vicious right here, man, but I don't, maybe it's just me, but ain't no woman gonna whoop me. That's the bottom line. I mean, and that's it. And if I see a female officer, I'm gonna feel more confident having to deal with her than I would with a man.
When they go out of their way to make you feel uncomfortable and little knee in the head or something, then you want to just turn around and start getting off and
target you as a person instead of just doing their job.
Right.
I think a lot of officers basically that sometimes they'll let the job get to their head.
Right.
Or they think they're above the law.
But if you pull me out of a car and want to gaffle me up and grab my nuts and just, you know, pretty much put me out there on the highway to be looked at, I'm going to get angry, you know. And
what do you mean, though, when you get angry?
Well, because I
do something then, or?
Well, you know, it wouldn't matter if it's male or female, because, you know, there's a common sense of respect there for who I am and who you are, and I feel you violated that by confronting me with no reason, you know. Maybe you have profiling issues or whatever, and you want to jack me up without giving me what I feel is my due respect. Yeah, it's going to get confrontational.
An officer on the streets could know this individual from being a street gang member and know that, hey, the guy's not really on the ball. He's just a flunky. He's out here slinging crack. He goes to prison, ends up under the umbrage of this organization, comes back out a year and a half later, and now that officer is dealing with somebody completely different. The officer may not know that, but in reality, he is dealing with a completely different person, having been educated by your organization.
Oh yeah, mandatory. You know, because one thing about our organization, our thing is education. You know what I mean? We're going to educate them. You know what I mean? A lot of things, you know, like I said, art of war, art of leadership, you know, concepts, you know, Mexican, Aztec history, business. So they're going out there educated, you know what I'm saying? And they're going out there better trained, more physically fit, and they're going out there with the goal because they want to, you know, exceed where the older homeboys are at. They want to be somebody, you know what I'm saying? They're more disciplined, you know what I mean? They're more dedicated, you know, so you're dealing with a whole different person. He's a walking weapon for us, you know what I mean? Whether it be mentally or physically. We look at gangbangers, you know, like I said before, wandering clouds of shit. You know, they have no self-worth in life. They have no goals in life. You know, you get someone coming out of prison like an NF member, well, I got goals and objectives. You know what I mean? Whether I got to, you know, bootlick the police officer for 5 minutes in order to get away, that's what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? If I got to do some physical harm to the police officer in order for me to get away, that's what I'm going to do. You know, but in dealing with somebody coming out of prison, you got to understand that he's calculating everything. You know what I'm saying? He's being observed, he's being patient. What calls for what? You know what I'm saying? He's using his mind more instead of just reacting to a certain situation like you got youngsters out there. You know, so it's a totally different situation. You can find yourself dead or hurt or, hey, going home that night.
And a law enforcement official on the street needs to understand many of these guys have been hit with impact rounds 4, 5, 6 times. They've been sprayed with pepper spray. They've walked through CN and CS in order to complete their mission. They're not just going to quit because you're telling them to do so or because you've deployed some munition or tool to get them to stop.
If I was on a mission and you caught me on the way to do it, I would definitely be looking to take your life. I mean, and it would be a quick thing. And you know, it wouldn't be about the assessments that I would make of you. Either way, they aren't going to impede me from doing what I have to do. They're just going to help me in judging how I'm going to carry it out. Because if I think that I can just really overpower you physically, I might try to do it quietly. But if I think that I would have problems, then I'm just going to shoot you. And that's basically what it means. It doesn't mean it's going to happen or it's not going to happen. It's just how it's going to happen. Personally, my plan had always been really simple. You know, if someone pulled me over during the commission of a crime or after having just committed a crime, I would just wait for him to come to my window, and as soon as he stuck his head in there, I would shoot him. And that's pretty cut and dry. You know, I wouldn't shoot him from a distance. I would not want to get into a shootout with him because I'm scared of guns. I mean, I don't like bullets coming at me. I mean, if I shoot somebody, I don't want them to be shooting back at me. So I want to basically catch them when they're slipping.
If they're in the process of committing a crime, you know, and they know they're going to get busted, well, most of the time they'll wait because in prison as well as in the streets, patience is a virtue. So what we do, we always look for that weakness that a police officer commits. You know, one thing that we always found out that a lot of police officers like putting their heads down when they like to write, or they like to get too little close, you know, not really pay attention to the individual, because a lot of police officers, they want to exert their authority. They think just because they're in blue or they have a badge, I'm the man here, you know, I'm more superior than you, he ain't gonna do nothing to me, I'm badass. But they fail to realize that a lot of individuals coming out now, well, they're gonna take these opportunities. You know, they catch you looking down while you're writing, you're up too close, whatever, they're gonna take one. They're gonna try to take you, you know what I'm saying, in order to get out of there.
And 9 times out of 10, if there's more than one person in that car going to do a target, you know,
You're washed up.
you better get back up before you even approach that.
I don't know what you're
Because if I'm with him, I already know what he's going to do. He got 2 strikes. He ain't going back to prison.
And we ain't leaving our partner behind.
I mean, we take into consideration the fact that when you make initial contact with us, it's going to be a one-on-one situation, and we're going to have the advantage because we know what you're bringing when you're walking up to us. You're bringing your gun, you're bringing your radio. And if you're alone, if you don't have a partner, that's all you're bringing. You have no idea what I have waiting for you in my car, in my waistband. You're basically walking up onto the situation cold, and at that moment in time, I have an advantage over you. This is something that we talked about a lot, and that's where the aggressiveness comes into play. You know, if I take aggressive steps then, when I have the advantage, chances are I'm going to win. If I wait until you have a chance to make your call and backup arrives, I'm going to get caught because there's no way I can deal with the whole police force.
Put it this way, it's either your life or the law enforcement's life. So if he's coming in between your mission or your objective, even if he's just pulling you over and you haven't completed your task yet, you're going to come back here and you're going to have reprisals against you. And if you can't clean that up some way, then it's your life in danger. And that's the way people look at it. So, of course, their objective is going to be, whether they're pulled over, it's going to be, you know, if they got a gun, they're going to use it, you know, because otherwise it's their life that's in danger coming back here without completing their mission.
While you're at Pelican Bay, you were involved with Raul Leon.
Amongst other Mexican Mafia members, yeah. Mainly him, because he's from my neighborhood.
Can you detail the elaborate escape plot and how it was going to impact local law enforcement in Crescent City?
We were going to get these guys that were getting ready to parole to come back up here and break some of us out.